Russia hits Ukraine power and transport sectors. Women face extreme hardship in Gaza. Hello, good afternoon, and Salam Alaikum Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Nicholas, and you're watching World Today. We begin with reports of a Russian strike. Russian forces carried out a massive strike on Ukraine's military-industrial complex, energy facilities and port infrastructure. The Russian Defense Ministry said that the strike was in response to Ukraine's overnight attacks on Russia's civilian objects. The strike involved long-range, high-precision air and ground-based weapons. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said earlier that rescue efforts were underway in numerous regions following Russia's attacks. Zelensky said Russia launched over 650 drones and 51 missiles targeting multiple regions with injuries reported. He added that the main targets were energy facilities. In the Odessa region, 9,500 subscribers remain without heat supply and 34,000 subscribers remain without water supply due to damage. A Russian drone strike also hit and burnt down the main railway station building in Fastiv. Next, developments on the latest Israeli strikes in Gaza. An elderly woman and her son were among at least 7 Palestinians killed in the latest Israeli attacks in Gaza as the occupation forces continue to operate across the Yellow Line ceasefire demarcation. Health officials reported the killings on Saturday in Beit Lahia, Jabalia and Zaytun, including a 70-year-old woman and her son who were hunted down and killed by a drone in Gaza City. The Israeli military said it killed 3 people in separate incidents, claiming that they had crossed the Yellow Line. However, witnesses said the woman and her son were chased by a quadcopter drone about 1 kilometer from the Yellow Line and left there to be bleed to death as the aircraft continued hovering overhead, preventing anyone from reaching them. Elsewhere in Gaza, Israeli forces demolished residential buildings and public infrastructure in Sujaya district east of Gaza City, launching a major assault with tanks, attack drones and ground troops that forced Palestinians to flee. The Israelis have begun erecting sand barriers that isolate the eastern part of the city, and they've also pushed tanks and armored vehicles 300 to 500 meters beyond the Yellow Line near Salah al-Din Street in western Gaza City. The UN Population Fund UNFPA reported that more than 57,000 households in the Gaza Strip are now headed by women, many of whom face extreme vulnerability amid overcrowded shelters, hunger and disease. Harsh winter rains and flooding have deepened the humanitarian crisis, with families queuing for hours for food and water, as many now seek only basic shelter, small heaters and light instead of homes, education or proper meals. Gaza's health system is still standing only because its workers refuse to abandon it. Since the ceasefire on the 10th of October, UNFPA has reached 120,000 women and girls with reproductive health services, dignity items and care for survivors of gender-based violence. Currently, the Population Fund supports 22 health facilities, including 5 hospitals, 36 women and girls safe spaces and 2 shelters, as well as 9 youth hubs, he said, pledging to double the number in 2026. In a fresh flare-up between Afghanistan and Pakistan, 4 civilians and 1 soldier was reportedly killed on the Afghan side in an overnight exchange of gunfire and shelling. Afghan government spokesman Hamdullah Fitrat said 5 other civilians were also wounded. It was also reported that 3 people suffered minor injuries during the fighting that lasted until dawn on Saturday. Pakistan and Afghanistan blamed each other on instigating the flare-up late on Friday night across the border in the Balochistan province. A spokesman for Pakistan Prime Minister also accused Afghan forces of unprovoked firing along the Chaman border. But Afghan border police said the Pakistani forces first lobbed a hand grenade, prompting a response. Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahideen said Pakistani forces launched attacks in Spin Boldak city. The exchange came nearly a week after a new round of peace talks between the South Asian neighbours ended without a breakthrough, although both sides agreed to continue their fragile ceasefire. The talks in Saudi Arabia last weekend were the latest in a series of meetings. Early discussions were hosted by Qatar and Turkey. Villagers carrying wooden coffins and children with sharpener wounds crowded the corridors of Saint hospitals on Saturday after fresh bombardments tore through communities along the Ruzizi Plain in Democratic Republic of Congo. The bombardments also killed several people and sending families fleeing from Luvungi and Katagota toward the town for safety. The surge in violence comes 2 days after Congo and Rwanda signed a U.S.-brokered peace agreement under President Donald Trump, hailed as a breakthrough meant to halt years of conflict in the east. Instead, clashes have intensified across parts of South Kivu, with blasts reported around Luvungi, Katogota and Kamanyola as thousands continue to flee renewed hostilities. At the Ruzizi General Hospital in Sangay, relatives arrived carrying wooden coffins to retrieve the bodies of victims killed in Saturday's bombardments. Hospital director said the facility recorded 37 injured people in the past 24 hours, including 20 minors aged 5 to 20, and received 6 bodies, 3 brought in dead and 3 who died in hospital, among them a child under 2. Continued shelling along the roads in the area has made it difficult to determine the full toll as more families arrive in Sangay seeking refuge.
Guna mentol jimat tenaga untuk lebih jimat.
Still ahead, mass shooting at South African bar kills 11. At least 11 people were killed, including a 3-year-old boy, after gunshots were fired at an illegal bar in the South African city of Pretoria. A police officer said that a manhunt was launched for 3 suspects who were not identified. In a statement, police stated that another 14 people were wounded.
What happened here, there is a room for the hostel where people that were congregated drinking. There were approximately 3 individuals, those who approached the room. They started shooting randomly. Out of that, 10 people succumbed to the shooting.
South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world, averaging about 60 a day. At least 23 people died after a fire at a nightclub in India's Goa state. 3 people died from burn injuries, while the others died from suffocation. The chief minister of the state said ambulance lining up to help the injured. The incident occurred around 12:04 a.m. local time in the village of Arpora. Fire trucks and ambulances were rushed to the location after police received information about the blaze. Fires are common in India due to poor building practices, overcrowding and a lack of adherence to safety regulations. The police officials say the fire was suspected to have been started by a cylinder blast, but it added that further investigation was required. Goa's chief minister said that the state government has ordered an inquiry into the incident. Fresh lava fountains spewed in spectacular fashion from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano on Saturday. U.S. volcanologists said the activity marks nearly a year since one of the world's most active volcanoes began erupting. The USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory said sustained lava fountains of approximately 50 to 100 feet in height were erupting from the north wind and that the heights of the lava fountains were rapidly increasing. Kilauea has been very active since 1983 and erupts relatively regularly. It is one of the 6 active volcanoes located in the Hawaiian Islands, which also includes Mauna Loa, the largest volcano in the world. Kilauea is much smaller than neighboring Mauna Loa, but is far more active and regularly wows helicopter riding tourists who come to see its red-hot shows. Disaster hit Sri Lanka has unveiled a major compensation package to rebuild homes damaged by a deadly cyclone, even as the island prepared on Saturday for further landslides and flooding. The government has confirmed 611 deaths, with another 213 unaccounted for and feared dead. The Sri Lankan president visited the central city of Kandy on Saturday to coordinate relief operations after Cyclone Didwa. The Disaster Management Centre issued fresh landslide warnings in several areas of the worst-affected central province, with the northeast monsoon gathering over the island and bringing more rain. More than 2 million people, nearly 10% of the population, have been affected by last week's floods and landslides, the worst this century. Earlier, the Finance Ministry said that the survivors will be offered up to 10 million rupees to buy land in a safer location and build a new house. They will also receive livelihood support, including cash to pay for children's school books, kitchen appliances, bedding and rent if they are not given accommodation by the state. Turning to trade relations between Ghana and China. Ghana has China's zero-tariff policy will further boost bilateral trade as it works to align product standards to increase exports to the Chinese market. Ghana President John Dramani Mahama hailed the economic and trade cooperation with China. Ghana is among the first sub-Saharan countries to establish diplomatic relations with China and remains an important strategic partner of China in Africa.
We're looking on the Ghanaian side for Chinese industries to come and help us add value to the products that we have so that we can export back into the Chinese market. Apart from that, there's the important issue of harmonization of standards. China has about 40 standards, and so we need to harmonize our standards with the Chinese standards so that it makes it easier for us to export into the Chinese market. Areas we're ironing out, and I think that
in 2024, the trade volume between Ghana and China reached $11.8 billion, with an annual growth rate exceeding 7%, and this growth momentum has continued into 2025. China and Ghana are working together to address practical challenges and align their economic strategies, moving from trade in raw materials to a more value-added collaboration.
Sukan Sea Thailand 2025. Semangatnya sudah terasa. Nantikannya hanya di RTM. Penyiar Rasmi.
Coming up, Harimau Muda fight back to beat Laos 4-1 in SEA Games opener. The national men's junior hockey squad beat Switzerland 7-3 in the FIH's Men's Hockey Junior World Cup's 13th to 16th place classification match at Mayor Hockey Stadium, Chennai, India yesterday. Malaysia went ahead with a 2-0 lead early with goals scored from penalty corners by Muhammad Akil Daniel Matmusli in the 5th minute and Muhammad Hanzalah Abdul Hadi a minute later, but Switzerland struck one in through Jens Flock in the 13th minute. Undeterred, the Malaysians struck repeatedly, first with Muhammad Haris Iskandar Osman through a penalty stroke in the 19th minute, then the field goal by Rahul Fazreen Muhammad 2 minutes later to end the first half at a commanding 4-1. Switzerland mounted a comeback of sorts in the second half with a field goal by Leonard Krexner in the 32nd minute, but Malaysia held their ground and scored yet again through Azimuddin Shakir Kamarudin off a penalty corner in the 37th minute. Malaysia proceeded to slot in yet another 2 field goals via Muhammad Akil Daniel and Muhammad Danish Aiman Khairul Anwar. Switzerland only managed a final consolation goal at the end of the match through Jens Flock. The national under-23 men's football squad opened their SEA Games Thailand 2025 campaign with a come-from-behind 4-1 victory over Laos at the Raja Mangala National Stadium in Bangkok yesterday. Harimau Muda, guided by head coach Muhammad Nafuzi Zain, dominated proceedings from the kick-off, but Laos struck first when a swift counter-attack was finished by Bonpeng Zombath in the 4th minute. Malaysia drew level in the 33rd minute after a defensive error by Laos defender allowed Harry Danish Muhammad Haizon to calmly slot home the equaliser. Harimau Muda increased the tempo after the break, forcing Laos to defend deep before Hakimi Azim Rosli Muhammad capitalised on an opportunity to put Malaysia ahead in the 59th minute. Just 3 minutes later, in the 62nd minute, a powerful header from Moses Raj Mikael Das doubled the lead before Muhammad Abu Khalil's goal sealed all 3 points for Malaysia in the 90th minute. Malaysia will face Vietnam at the same venue on the 11th of December in the last Group B match that is expected to decide the group winners. Malaysia last won the gold medal at the 2011 SEA Games in Indonesia, while the silver medal at the 2017 Kuala Lumpur edition marked the most recent podium finish. Inter Miami secured their first MLS Cup crown on Saturday, beating the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-1 at Chase Stadium as Rodrigo De Paul and Tadio Allende struck late from a pair of Lionel Messi assists. Despite Thomas Muller driving a Vancouver side that controlled long stretches and created the better chances, the final ultimately swung on the Argentines' influence as he secured his first MLS League title and capped his final season on American soil. Miami opened the scoring in the 8th minute when Messi slipped Allende into space and the winger's low cross deflected off Vancouver defender Edir Ocampo and into his own net. Vancouver kept control of the ball after the break and finally made it count on the hour mark when Ali Ahmed drove into the box and fired a low shot that Rios Novo reached but could not keep out, the ball rolling over the line to bring the visitors level. Miami restored their lead in the 71st minute when Messi pounced on a loose Vancouver touch and slid the ball across the box for Rodrigo De Paul, who swept his finish pass Yohei Takaoka to cap the move with trademark composure. The hosts sealed the title deep into stoppage time when Messi threaded a pass to Allende, sparking emotional scenes with Jordi Alba in tears as he and Sergio Busquets, longtime friends and former Barcelona teammates, closed out their final match. The Tour de France champions Tadej Pogacar and Pauline Ferrand-Perrevot were crowned Cyclists of the Year at the Le Vélo d'Or Awards in Paris on Saturday. It is the 3rd time Pogacar has won the award that is voted for by a panel of journalists and cycling experts, as he won the Tour for the 4th time in 2025. The Slovenian was unable to attend the event through illness, but made a short video in which he said that it's a real honor and pleasure for him to receive the award again. He also retained the Eddie Merckx Award given to the Best Classics Rider for performance in the sports one-day events. Meanwhile, Ferrand Prevot is a world champion in 4 different disciplines, including road, cyclocross, gravel and mountain biking, and after being named the Velodrome winner, she also sent a video message expressing gratitude to the crowd for the award. Double Paralympic champion Alexandre Leté continued his form from Paris 2024 into this year as he won the time trial world championships in Belgium in the summer. He was named France's best paracyclist, picking up the award from former Olympic champion Mark Cavendish. The Olympic flame started its journey through Italy from Rome on Saturday, launching a 2-month relay designed to stir excitement across the country ahead of the 2026 Winter Games. After being lit last month in ancient Olympia, the Greek home of the ancient games, and handed over to Italian games organizer earlier this week, the torch set off from Rome's fascist-era Stadio dei Marmi. About 10,001 torchbearers will carry the flame on its 12,000 km Italian journey, wearing white uniforms with a red and yellow pattern, recalling the Olympic flame. Italy's Olympic medal-winning swimmer Gregorio Paltrinieri was the first, followed by foil fencing champion Elisa De Francisca and gold medalist in the high jump Gianmarco Tamberi. Accompanying the torch out of the Stadio dei Marmi was basketball player Achilles Polonara, who is battling leukemia. The torch will travel through all 110 Italian provinces and more than 300 municipalities, stopping in 60 cities for end-of-day celebrations before reaching Milan in time for the opening ceremony on the 6th of February. The flame will pass landmarks such as the Coliseum, the Vatican, Venice's Grand Canal, and Siena's Piazza del Campo, and spend Christmas in Naples. Up next, President Trump awards medals to the Kennedy Center honorees. U.S. President Donald Trump presented medals to Kennedy Center Honors recipients, country singer George Strait, action movie star Sylvester Stallone, disco-era singer Gloria Gaynor, and rock and band Kiss on Saturday. English stage actor Michael Crawford, known for The Phantom of the Opera and I Will Survive singer Gloria Gaynor, were also among this year's recipients. The Kennedy Center Honors is among the highest accolades in American culture.
These are among the greatest artists, actors, and performers of their generation, the greatest that we've seen. We can hardly imagine the country music phenomena without its king of country, or the American disco without its first lady, or Broadway without its phantom. And that was a phantom, let me tell you. Or rock and roll without its hottest band in the world, and that's what they are. Or Hollywood without one of its greatest visionaries. Each of you has made an indelible mark on American life, and together you have defined entire genres and set new standards for the performing arts.
Denmark's central bank has released new coins with the insignia of King Frederik X, who ascended to the throne in January 2024 after the surprise abdication of his mother, Queen Margaret II. The new 1, 2, 5, 10 and 20 crown coins were released into circulation on the 2nd of December, with some bearing the king's portrait and others different motifs related to the monarchy.
I think the new coins are very beautiful. They resemble something brand new in Denmark. It's a very different design from the previous series, but still it maintains the traditions of coins in Denmark with a clear reference to the sitting reign in Denmark. And I must admit, both the portrait and the coat of arms, as well as the monogram, really looks great on the new coins.
Although the new designs have been released into circulation, Carr said he expected it would be a few years before the coins with King Frederick X's insignia would become the dominant ones circulating in the Nordic nation. Flexing its shiny fingers and turning its steel-framed body, the Kaleido 9 prepares for a potentially incredible feat. It reaches over to gently pick up a toy cat, handing it over to an MC at a demonstration showcasing the humanoid robot's rescue capabilities during a disaster. According to Japan's Kawasaki Corporation, which spent about a decade developing the robot, the Kaleido 9, which is still in the testing phase, is meant to be deployed to disaster areas where access for humans is difficult. In addition to showcasing its rescue capabilities during disasters, the Kaleido 9 also performed a few domestic chores for crowds of onlookers, such as raking up some plastic leaves in a miniature yard and even throwing them into a trash bin, capabilities designed to help combat Japan's labor shortage resulting from its aging society and low birth rate.
多分日本のみならず、世界の課題だと思うんですけど、労働力人口の減少っていうのが今先進国で騒がれているので、その労働力の一部をヒューマノイドで担うといった未来を、私どもは考えてます。例えばなんですけど、工場で、働く皆さんすごく人不足で悩んでらっしゃるんですけれども、そこをヒューマノイドで代替したりであるとか、あと介護の業界とかもいいですよね。すごく人不足なので、そういったところをヒューマノイドで代替できるように目指していければなというふうに思ってます。
The famous Fraggle Rock puppet characters from the Emmy Award-winning series Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock are back for a new holiday special on Apple TV, The First Snow of Fraggle Rock. The show sees puppeteer and Fraggle Rock creative supervisor John Tartaglia in the role of Gobo, an explorer and leader of the main group of 5 Fraggles struggling to write his annual Christmas song. His writer's block is exacerbated when only a single snowflake arrives, throwing the start of the season off course. Tartaglia invited a small group of journalists into the Jim Henson Creature Shop in Burbank, California, to show how his team of creators, artists, and craftsmen bring the beloved puppets to life. That's all for World Today. In our top story, Russia hits Ukraine with missile and drone attack. Till then, I'm Olivia Nicholas. Salam Malaysia Madani. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful and restful Sunday.